I was in shock and disbelief and numb. There are no words to describe the immense pain his actions have caused our family and friends. He brutally kidnapped and murdered my daughter, my baby. He locked her in the car without any way to escape and tore her apart. He stole my chance of even identifying her body in the morgue due to the amount of torture he put her through. Your Honor, I beg of you, I plead of you to deny bail.
No one deserves to lose their sister, daughter, or friend in the merciless way that I lost Sammy. No one deserves to constantly relive finding out that one sister was violently taken from them, and my mind constantly replays that moment when my dad called, sobbing, as my knees buckled under me and I fell to the floor. One way to prevent another person from this constant nightmare that is now our life is to ensure that this man remains incarcerated and without bail.
This monster kidnapped and brutally murdered the love of my life. It wasn't accidental, nor a product of panic. It was orchestrated and carried out by a truly evil human being. I ask you today, justice be served for my beloved Sammy. I ask that you deny his bond request as he is a danger to everyone around him. What will happen when his thirst to kill strikes again?
Judge, you would have loved her. She made everyone smile and laugh. This monster animal has taken Samantha Josephson away from all of us. To stab someone over 30 times and brutally kill a defensive 21-year-old non-threatening female is a monster, a danger to kill again.
Knowing him coming up and basically spending most of our time together, even after he left college, and the goals that he had set for himself, the things that he wants out of life, does not remotely come close to alleged charges that he's being accused of. We stand behind him 100% because we do believe that he is innocent. We do believe that he's not capable of even doing such what he's being accused of. We do ask the court for mercy. We do send our prayers to the family, and we can't remotely imagine what they're going through.
I'm the mother of Nathaniel Rowland, and like my oldest son have said, there's no way that he could have done this, what they're accusing him of. As a child, he loved everyone. He gets along with everyone. He do what he can for everyone. He's a very respectful man. And I can't see my child do anything like that, harm anyone. He never have harmed anyone, never. And I thank you all so much for hearing me.
I've listened to everyone this morning, the officers, the state, the defense. This court makes a finding for purposes of this hearing that the defendant presents a danger to the community. And for that reason, the court denies the defendant's motion for bond at this time.
Probably one of the most emotional bond hearings I've ever seen. And you feel so bad, actually, for both families, right? But actually, you know, for Samantha's family, much more because Samantha is gone. But terrible, absolutely terrible. I want to get some more information, about the facts surrounding everything here. Let's bring in April Sampson. She is the prosecutor in the case, Deputy Solicitor, Richland County, South Carolina. April, thanks so much for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit more about Samantha? It seemed, we got a flavor for her from her loved ones. But this was a young woman who had her whole life in front of her.
That's right, and thank you for having me. Samantha was a college student here at the University of South Carolina, about to graduate and on her way to law school, of all things. So, as you said, she was just living her life, doing what she was supposed to do as a young adult, and she tragically was taken from us by Nathaniel Rowland.
And we talk about ride shares, and I said off the top, these, the whole system is kind of set up safety. It seems like the safest way anything can happen. Do we know what happened here? Was this a situation where she just made a mistake, or was she fooled into this mistake? Do we know?
As far as we can tell, she had called a car that would have also been a black sedan, and so got into seemingly what she believed to be her rideshare. After this happened, in fact, her family pressed hard and got a law passed here in South Carolina so that you have to display on these ride shares on the front of the vehicle, so that when somebody approaches the vehicle, they can see your license plate, your number, and therefore match from the front instead of having to go to the back, and know for sure that they're getting into the right car.
That's huge, right? Because you get the
Yes.
license on the app, but a lot of people aren't going to walk around to the back of the car and do that. So how are we doing right now in South Carolina? Here at Court TV, we're monitoring the entire nation, and we're seeing very few trials. We're seeing hearings, like we got a big one coming up tomorrow, another one on Friday, but jury trials, and that's what we're lined up for here. How are things going in South Carolina right now?
Well, we did start having jury trials here in South Carolina. We've had one in a different county than we're in. We're here in Richland County, and it went all the way to verdict. So we were ordered by our Chief Justice to start having jury trials. So here in Richland County, we start on September 28th of that week with our first trial, and we'll have trials every week after that, assuming that things don't go back to the way they used to and we get locked up again.
Yeah, exactly. It's been very strange, very unusual, and especially for you. I mean, prosecutors, that's what you do. You're in court every day, you're trying cases, and all of a sudden you're not. With this case, so what's at stake here? What is the penalty that the defendant is facing? And when you look at this trial, looking ahead, what should we expect? Is this going to be a week-long trial, a 3-week trial? What does it look like?
I would expect it to go at least into a second week. Here in South Carolina, we tend to work from 8:30 in the morning on trials until 5:30 at night. So we tend to get done with trials in about a week. I would think with a case like this, we would definitely go into a second week, just because of the amount of witnesses, the amount of things that were done by law enforcement. So there's a lot of witnesses. And so we're already a little behind with trials due to COVID. So I would anticipate we're not going to have anything on this particular case until next year. As far as what he is facing, he's charged, the biggest charge, of course, is murder. And here, murder carries 30 years mandatory minimum up to life in prison. We also have the death penalty in South Carolina. Now, please do not take this to say that he is facing death penalty. You just asked me what were the penalties that could be faced, and that we do have that here in South Carolina.
Okay, and has a decision been made on this case yet, or is that something that still can be determined in the future?
No decisions have been made. No offers have been made at this point. I would think it's fair to say that everything sort of slowed down with COVID. Testing that would normally be done has taken longer because the examiners were on staggered shifts and not, at SLED like they would normally be. We have not been in the office. We're still not in the office on a full schedule until we start back with trial. So everything has just sort of been slowed down due to that. So no decisions or no offers have been made, nothing like that at this point.
All right. Now, April Sampson, excuse me, I appreciate you coming on. I know you're limited in what you can say about a case at this stage, so we do appreciate you coming on and giving us some insight into what's happening in South Carolina. Thank you so much. We'll talk in the future.